Hello, welcome to PLSQL02pro.com. This is Hassan Mir. In this tutorial, I will explain you what PLSQL is. So topics include what is PLSQL, SQL versus PLSQL, PLSQL engine, SQL within PLSQL, network traffic, types of blocks, procedures, functions, and packages, processing of a PLSQL block, PLSQL program structure. Okay, so let's start. What is PLSQL? First you need to know what is SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and PLSQL is a procedural extension to SQL. Is called Procedural Language Extension to SQL. Alright, so a few basic things you need to understand is SQL is a language that you can use to talk to any relational database. For example, Oracle, the database from Oracle Corporation, IBM's DB2, Microsoft SQL Server. SQL could be used to talk to any of the relational databases, plus there are tons of other relational databases out there. Okay. However, you need to understand PLSQL is a proprietary Oracle language. Okay, you can't use PLSQL to talk to DB2 or SQL Server. Okay. So now, having said that, you need to understand why do you need PLSQL? Isn't SQL enough? What can you do with SQL first of all? Okay, with SQL you can create objects. Okay, using create, drop, alter command, you can create drop and alter objects. For example, table indexes, views, etc. You can manage data using select, update, and delete command. Okay, you can do transactional processing like rollback, commit, etc. And you can do some database security. You can manage database security, creating users, assigning privileges, roles, etc. Okay, but why do you need PLSQL? Okay, in SQL you issue one command at a time to the database. You are not really writing a big program. What is a program? Program is a group of instructions. It's not like one instruction at a time, and instructions are dependent on each other, right? One instruction can pass information to the next instructions, okay, and you can do conditional instructions, if this then that, etc. So what can you do with PLSQL? PLSQL you can do conditional processing, like if this happens then do that, like if average salary is less than this then do this, etc, etc. You can do loops, okay, continue reading the table until you reach this record, for example, or you can do some other looping as well. So looping it's different than full table scan that you can do through SQL. Okay, now you can do exceptional handling, like if this error occurs then do this, if this error occurs then do that. You can store values in temporary variable. One instruction can store value in some variable so that other instructions can read that. Okay, so you can write like group of instructions dependent on each other, so it's like a full programming language. That's what PLSQL can do. So PLSQL comes in when you need to perform complicated tasks that beyond SQL. Now let's talk about some database products, some Oracle products. Like Oracle makes database their flagship product called Oracle Database. They also make some other tools to develop software like Form Designer, Report Designer. You can use PLSQL language in any of Oracle, in most of Oracle products. Okay, for example, you can write PLSQL program within the database. You can write them at the form designer level or report designer level. Now the point here is that PLSQL engine is built into most of Oracle products. So if you write a PLSQL program at the database side, it will be processed by the database PLSQL engine. If you write a PLSQL program at form or report designer level, it will be processed by the PLSQL engine at form and report designer. Okay, now you need to understand one more thing, that PLSQL program could consist multiple SQL statements within the program. Okay, now the problem is that the PLSQL instructions will be processed by the PLSQL engine. However, the SQL statement has to be sent to the SQL engine. Now the SQL engine only resides on the database side. SQL engine doesn't it's not included in any of the other product. So if you're writing a PLSQL program on the forms or report designer level that has lots of SQL statements, so each SQL statement will be sent to the database machine. So there will be a lot of network traffic going back and forth. Let me give you an example. So this is the PLSQL program you're writing at the application server. It has, like, let's say 3 SQL statements. Each of these SQL statement has to be sent to the database because the SQL engine is only residing on the database side. So instruction will go back, result will come back, right? Instruction will go to the database, and the database will send the result back to the application server. So like 6 times the traffic would flow. So what you can do is you can copy the whole PLSQL program and send it to the database side, because you can also store program the database side. Here there will be only traffic will flow only twice. Some other program from this side will call this program, and all this processing will happen on the database side, and the result will be sent back to the application server. Okay, so that was just an example to show you how you can reduce the network traffic. Now let's talk about types of PLSQL blocks. Okay, so PLSQL program can reside in the database. Once you're putting a PLSQL program in the database, you have to name it something, okay, so that you can call it by the name. For example, calculation program or salary calculation program, etc., etc. Similarly, you can store the PLSQL program at the form designer and report designer level as well. It has to be named. It has to have a name. Okay, so you can write lots of logic and you can name it. So it's called name block. Okay, similarly, similar to name block, there's something called anonymous block. Okay, what is anonymous block? Like there's a query tool. You can basically install query tools as we talked earlier on any machine, right? And basically the query tool sends instructions to the database, and database sends result back to the query tool. Okay, actually I talked about query tool in my SQL02 Pro introduction. Now you can write a quick PLSQL program without calling it anything, and Oracle can run it for you as a one-time run. Okay, and that's called anonymous block. So you're not storing it in any of the Oracle product, you're just passing it as one-time program to Oracle. You can store it in a notepad file or anything for Oracle cares, but Oracle is not storing that program for you. It's like one-time instruction. So it's called anonymous PLSQL block. Now the name block can be divided into three types: procedure, functions, and packages. Okay, and in coming tutorials I'll be talking about all these things: procedure, functions, and packages. Package is simply a group of procedures and functions. Okay, and the main difference between procedure and function is that function returns one value back. So you call function so that function can do some processing and give the result back to you as one result and one value. Procedures are usually called to do some one-time processing, and they're not expected to give you any result back. So anyway, I'll be talking in detail about all these things, but just remember the name block can be divided into three categories: procedure, functions, and packages. Okay, now you need to understand how Oracle process your PLSQL program. Once you write PLSQL program, the PLSQL engine compiles it, and if you have made any syntax errors, okay, syntax error, like all the syntax have to be proper. If you're using loop or if-then conditions, all the keywords should be there. Okay, otherwise it won't run. So if there's syntax error, they'll be displayed to you. Otherwise, P code will be created. P code is something that programmer usually not interested in seeing the P code. Something in the back end. It raw instructions to Oracle. So once the program is compiled, one time the P code is stored so that you can run it anytime you like. It's a very fast execution. If it's never compiled and you're trying to run it once, the first time the compilation will occur, but compilation is only one time. The rest of the time it will simply P code will be executed, which is pretty fast. Okay, and so once you run the program, the runtime error could occur. Runtime error are different than syntax errors. Syntax error are related to the syntax. Runtime error are mostly data dependent error. For example, if your program is expecting one result back, and by the time you were compiling it, like you were getting one result back, but while you're running it next subsequent time, let's say somebody has modified the data, you're getting 0 result back or more than 1 result back, you can get a runtime error. Okay, otherwise the program will run successfully. The structure of the program is like this. You have a declaration section which is optional, but you wouldn't be writing a program that has no variables in it, otherwise how good that program would be. So you need basically, if you want to declare a variable, you would be having a declaration section. The whole program logic resides here. This is the only compulsory section in your PLSQL block. And finally, you have an exceptional handling block in which you catch the runtime errors and handle them gracefully rather than users seeing a technical error message. Okay, so this is the structure of a PLSQL program. So if you need to learn more about PLSQL, visit my website PLSQL02pro.com, and I'll, in a step-by-step manner, hopefully I'll make you a pro in PLSQL. Goodbye everybody.